सर हम लाइव आ गए कि नहीं? क्योंकि यहाँ से अब स्ट्रीम चल रही है अपनी 10 सेकंड यही वाली अच्छा हो गया।
Welcome, everyone, to IUPAC Global Women's Breakfast, GWB 2025, where we are accelerating equity in science. You are part of a network of more than 30,000 people overcoming barriers to gender equality in science, technology, engineering, and maths. Your efforts also support the UN Sustainable Development Goals, gender equality, and reduced inequalities. If this is the first time joining the GWB, you may be wondering how this all got started. The GWB founder, Professor Mary Garson, asked, "How can we celebrate Marie Curie on the centenary of her Nobel Prize in Chemistry, the IYC, and connect groups in support of women scientists?" Her idea was simply breakfast. Having breakfast together is a great way to network. To take networking one step further, she encouraged groups to interact with each other and create a handshake that traveled around the world.
My idea was quite simple. Women know how and when to network. They go out to breakfast. And to take networking one step further, I encouraged groups to interact with each other using social media, and in this way, we created a handshake that travelled around the globe.
The first global breakfast was an amazing success, with roughly 5,000 participants at 100 events in 40 countries, a community of organizations in support of women in chemistry. In 2019, the Global Breakfast returned as part of the centenary of the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry and the International Year of the Periodic Table, with over 10,000 participants at 200 events in 50 countries. The Global Breakfast is now an event that happens on a single day each year. The first events begin in New Zealand, progressing around the globe, ending in Hawaii. The influence of the GWB has grown over the years with an increasing number of events and participating countries. In 2025, the GWB will have hosted more than 2,000 total events in 100 countries. And the GWB is an official event of the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology.
Admin, can we start
Advances
the
in quantum technology will be crucial to achieving many of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This year, we have challenged you to create inspiring videos in support of GWB and IYQ and post them on your favorite social media platforms. Check out the details on the website. Don't worry, you can still submit your videos through March 31st for another round of awards. Here are the videos selected for today's welcome.
Science and technology have the power to change the world, but only when everyone gets a seat at the table. Imagine a future where diversity and equity drive innovation, where science truly reflects the creativity and brilliance of all people.
I can see her. Yeah. Namaskar. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah. Vandana ma'am has joined. Sadiq.
Ma'am, I'm just looking whether our second speaker
No,
has.
she'll join. She'll join when we have given her 1 p.m.
Okay.
So we can start with Vandana ma'am and then she can join in between.
Okay, madam. We should begin now.
Okay.
Shet ma'am will continue. Over to you, Shet ma'am.
Namaste. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Global Women's Breakfast, Accelerating Equity in Science. My name is Rajshri Sheth, and I will be your host for today's event. We have an exciting program lined up for you with two distinguished guests, speakers, and finally, presidential address by our principal, Dr. Kalpana Virendra Singh ma'am. Uh, It's really a great pleasure to invite our principal, PMCOE Government Madhav College, Dr. Kalpana Virendra Singh ma'am, to deliver the welcome speech. Please join me in welcoming very proactive and dynamic Dr. Kalpana Virendra Singh. Ma'am, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rajeshwari Seth, and thank you all the participants who have joined. First of all, I welcome Dr. Vandana from M3 Bhopal. She is with us, and today we are going to talk on a very pertinent and burning issue, that is uh, equity in science, accelerating equity in science. So it's a very important topic. आज हम मनाने जा रहे हैं ग्लोबल वुमेन्स ब्रेकफास्ट, and today I also congratulate all the participants who have joined us. Ma'am, there are certain participants who have joined us on YouTube also. So I welcome all the participants who have joined, and I congratulate you too on this International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Today we are celebrating women and girls in science, and definitely it's a very important topic when we talk about women and girls in science. And more important is this word, which is accelerating equity in science, because when we talk about science, तो जो चीज़ फीमेल्स के कंटेक्स्ट में अगर हम बात करते हैं, तो जो चीज़ पहले से हमारे दिमाग में आती है, दैट व्हेन द गर्ल इज़ वेरी यंग, व्हेन द गर्ल इज़ वेरी स्मॉल, तो पहली बात ये मानी देखी जाती है घरों में, दैट देयर शुड बी अ वेरी स्मूथ करियर व्हेन इफ इट इज़ अ गर्ल चाइल्ड इन क्वेश्चन. And parents generally say that, why do you want to study, or why do you want to burn yourself in science? However, हम लोगों के लिए ये शायद थोड़ा अजीब इसलिए हो सकता है. Dr. Vandana is a physicist. She's a principal scientist and a professor of physics. And myself being from chemistry field, और हम सब में से किसी ने भी ये एक्सपीरियंस लाइफ में नहीं किया, that when we were studying and if we asked for something, or even if we were aspiring for something, we were not ever stopped by any of our parents, and उन्होंने हमको rather promote ही किया. So it may be a difficult scenario to think that, why are we speaking about these things today? World is entering into 21st century, and when we are in 21st century, तो इस 21वीं शताब्दी में ये बात करना बेमानी हो सकता है. हमको ऐसा लग सकता है that why we are talking about equity, accelerating equity in science, and why the hell do we need this type of discussions today or tomorrow. But the thing is like this, कि अभी भी अगर हम देखें, तो when it comes to science, parents have opened their arms and opened their hearts with science, but they generally say that, why do you want to pursue STEM? Why don't you go in biosciences? Why don't you be a doctor? Why don't you be a professor of some lesser challenge version of science? Parents, they are not very comfortable if the girl is going into physics or mathematics or technology or engineering. So today we are talking about accelerating equity in science. Mani, we want to talk about this, that why should the softer branches of science, or why should there be, why should these branches like biosciences and medicine should be open for girls? Why not be physics? Why not be technology? Why not be mathematics? Because we know that world and even India had produced great mathematicians like Shakuntala Devi. अगर हम बहुत पीछे भी जाएं, वैदिक समय की बात करें, इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम की भी बात करें, तब हमारे पास लीलावती जैसे मैथमेटिशियंस हुए, जिनके ऊपर आधारित होकर पूरे अध्याय लिखे गए. सो द टाइम itself proves that whether it was in Indian knowledge system, whether it is today, or whether it is, I suppose that even if it is tomorrow, girls are no less, and girls, they can do whatever they want. They can prove themselves whenever and in whatsoever form they are. और इसी को लेकर के 6 years back ग्लोबल वुमेन्स ब्रेकफास्ट जो है ये स्टार्ट किया गया. एंड ग्लोबल वुमेन्स ब्रेकफास्ट को स्टार्ट करते हुए ये 6 years भी नहीं, 6 years जो हुए हैं उसमें approximately 2000 global women's breakfasts they have been celebrated. और ये जो 2000 ग्लोबल वुमेन्स ब्रेकफास्ट हैं जो मैरी गार्सन ने शुरू किए थे, इनके पीछे का जो आयु पैक इज बेसिकली होल्डिंग दीज ब्रेकफास्ट इनिशियली, एंड इंटरनेशनल यूनियन फॉर प्योर एंड अप्लाइड केमिस्ट्री, एंड द कॉन्सेप्ट बेसिकली वाज to celebrate women in science and to celebrate the concept of women in science. And basically वहीं से ये इस equity की शुरुआत हुई. और इनिशियली ये माना गया कि हाउ कैन वी सेलिब्रेट ऑल दीज थिंग्स, हाउ कैन वी टॉक अबाउट ऑन दीज इश्यूज. तो ये माना गया कि लेट अस हैव some women should have breakfast together, informally they should laugh, informally they should discuss certain things, और उसके बाद में वो किसी कंक्लूजन पे पहुंच सकेंगी. और इसी के साथ ये ग्लोबल वुमेन्स ब्रेकफास्ट की शुरुआत हुई. एंड वी नो दैट final are the events when we have right to speak, when we have opportunity to speak, and we have एक्सपर्टीज टू स्पीक. ये सभी चीजें जब हमारे साथ होती हैं देन वी नो दैट कि वो इवेंट्स हमारे सबसे फाइनल इवेंट्स होते हैं. सो ये जो इनफॉर्मल शुरुआत हुई थी जहाँ पे वुमेन दे सेट टुगेदर, दे हैड देयर ब्रेकफास्ट, एक कैफे से शुरुआत हुई. एक कैफे में कुछ महिलाएं इकट्ठी हुई, बेसिकली दे वर केमिस्ट्स, और वहाँ से उन्होंने शुरुआत किया कि कैसे वी कैन टॉक अबाउट एक्विटी इन साइंस. एंड देन इट बिकेम्स द वर्ल्ड वाइड मूवमेंट, starting from Tanzania to Nigeria to India to Sri Lanka to Bangladesh to Pakistan to European nations to American nations. Now this global women's breakfast is a grand success. आज हमारे कॉलेज में जो प्लेटफॉर्म है ये इसलिए भी बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है दैट वी आर नॉट स्टिकिंग टू वन टाइप ऑफ और द वन जॉनर ऑफ वुमेन. यहाँ पे द वुमेन विच वी आर सेलिब्रेटिंग दे आर फ्रॉम ऑल वॉक्स ऑफ लाइफ, फ्रॉम ऑल जॉनर ऑफ लाइफ. We have one of the some of the finest of different types of academicians from English, Hindi, history, science, philosophy, physics, chemistry, mathematics. We have brought them all together. और जैसा आप हमारे जो फीमेल फ्रेंड्स हैं आप उनके फोरहेड पे शायद देख भी रहे होंगे, देयर इज एन इनोवेशन और एक बहुत अच्छा सा GWB उन्होंने लिखा हुआ है, ग्लोबल वुमेन्स ब्रेकफास्ट. सो वी आर इन सेलिब्रेटिंग दिस ग्लोबल वुमेन ब्रेकफास्ट इन ऑल द फुल लाइक हम इसको पूरे उत्साह के साथ सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं, जहाँ पे हमारी फीमेल कलीग्स जो हैं दे आर पुटिंग दिस GWB logo on their foreheads, and we are spreading the message that there should be equity in science, and this science should be celebrated by all, because science is not a subject. I firmly believe that this is not about teaching a subject. This is about bringing some type of order in whatever you study, whatever you do, and that is scientific behavior. So I welcome you again, Dr. Vandana. You are between us from EMPRI Bhopal, and over to Dr. Ashish. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for a very insightful concept note. We came to know कि कैसे ये कैफे से एक वर्ल्ड वाइड मूवमेंट में बदल गया और किस तरह से इसकी वजह से और ये सारी चीज़ें करने से अवेयरनेस और साइंस की तरफ अवेयरनेस जाग सकती है और बच्चे इसकी तरफ बहुत ज़्यादा मोटिवेट हो सकते हैं. It's really a great pleasure to introduce our speaker, Dr. Vandana. She is a renowned expert in the field of solar energy and material science. Dr. Vandana is currently working as a senior principal scientist at CSIR EMPRI Bhopal and professor at the Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research, India. Dr. Vandana's academic journey is truly very impressive. She received her master's degree with a university gold medal from the physics department, Kurukshetra University, and her PhD degree from the School of Physics, Physical Sciences, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. She has also worked as a postdoctoral fellow in the physics department, IIT Delhi, and has collaborated with several international institutions including the National Institute of Advanced Industrial Science and Technology, Japan, and Physikalische Technische Bundesanstalt, Germany. Dr. Vandana's research expertise lies in the development of crystalline silicon solar cell technology, particularly in surface passivation, PV device measurements, and metrology. She has worked on advanced PERC cell structures and ALD-based passivation schemes and has made significant contributions to the field of solar energy. Her work has been recognized through several patents, including Indian and US patents, and she has published over 35 papers in SCI journals. Dr. Vandana has also been instrumental in establishing primary standard facilities for solar cell calibration at CSIR NPL and has worked closely with international institutions to establish world class facilities in India. She has co authored chapters in several books, including Metrology for Inclusive Growth of India, and has graduated 5 PhD students under her supervision. Today, Dr. Vanna will be speaking to us about her research and experiences in the field of science. Her talk will highlight the importance of women's contribution to science and technology. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Vandana, a true pioneer in her field and inspiration to women everywhere. Her dedication, passion, and expertise make her an exceptional role model, and we are honored to have her with us today. Dr. Vanna, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Rajshri ji. Thank you for nice introduction. And I would like to thank Kalpana ma'am for inviting me to participate in this program. And so that I am now a part of this Global Women Breakfast 2025 event celebration at Government Madhav College, Ujjain. So as Kalpana ma'am gave a brief introduction about I also came to know about this event through ma'am only, that how this whole thing started from a cafe and this thing have evolved over the year. So yes, this is a very important topic, that there should be equity. There should be equity in science. So my talk is actually not focused on the thing that what is the contribution of different women. Rather, here I will try to explain that what are the important areas in solar energy where we are working, our country is working, and other students and women scientists, girl student can work in that area and could contribute for the growth of the country in that particular area, because that is very important. If we talk about opportunity for girls and women, I see like we got a chance to study in science and were able to do masters and then PhD in science, and are able to study in that direction and are able to contribute something towards the science. So today I would like to request all the member who are connected through this talk, maybe male member, female member, girl student, boy student, everyone, that they should also try to convince people whosoever are in their surrounding that girls should get an equal chance to study. It in whether they want to study arts or science, it is the choice of the student. It should not be like girls cannot go into the science stream. Now time is changing, and lot of girls are coming in this direction. They are doing very very good in science. As I am from CSIR, I would like to mention that CSIR is having a Jigyasa program, through which several Kendriya Vidyalayas are connected with CSIR laboratories, in which many students also visit our labs, even at the level of class 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So when they visit the laboratories, they interact with all of us. This student can be girl student or boy student. Okay. So that is because we give equal opportunities to everyone. So education is for everyone. So they visit our laboratory, and then they interact with us. They see, okay, what kind of activities are going on in different stream of science itself, and then they can be convinced, they can have that motivation. Yes, if they are seeing this later on, they can also join these laboratories, they can also get a job there. So these kind of motivation they get at that level itself, and can pursue their career in science. So that is how CSIR is contributing towards giving an idea about the opportunities for students, girl students, women, even for teachers also. There are teacher training programs in which our scientists are interacting with teachers. They are showing the various areas in which people are working, facilities, and through which like people can work with us also. Internship programs are also there. So all those things are there. So that is how CSIR is actually working in this area, where we are trying to provide opportunities to girls and women and other people also for pursuing their career in science. So with these words, I would like to congratulate the college and principal ma'am and all other members who are basically celebrating. We all are a part of this grand celebration which is going on internationally, and I'm very happy to be a part of this. So with these words, I would like to now move on to my presentation. So I'll share this slide and you just let me know whether you are able to see the slides or not. Is the slide visible? Hello?
No, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
It's visible, right? So is it, ma'am, is it in the full screen mode?
Yes.
Hello?
Please, Sharma sir, please, your mic is unmuted.
Hello? Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, is the slide visible and voice is coming? Voice is there, slide.
I can see the slide, ma'am.
Slide I cannot see. Rashmi ma'am, can you see the slide?
No, ma'am, even I cannot see the slide.
Ma'am,
Just a minute.
Dr. Vanna ma'am, please share the screen.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I'm sharing the screen.
Please.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
now
ma'am.
it is visible. And you are audible.
I'm actually really quite in the full screen mode.
No, this is not in full screen mode, Vandana. This
I
is
have. Okay. Actually, I put it in the full screen mode.
Okay, you can go ahead like this because there is a problem with Google Meet. Sometimes it doesn't work. So I think, okay, you can go ahead.
Are slides changing? Like
No.
No.
At my end, no.
now?
Yeah,
Yes.
now it's changing.
It is changing?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so maybe in this mode, I'll keep my screen and will present.
Yeah, definitely. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So basically now I will talk about the topic on which I am working since last around 16 years. I'm working in the area of silicon solar cell, and I would like to give a brief overview about the silicon photovoltaic technology, its progress and advanced concepts which are actually being researched these days in this particular area. This topic is very important from the point of view that everybody is talking about climate change these days. And when you talk about climate change and weather conditions variation, at that time, people are talking about renewable energy sources. So this is one of the renewable energy source. We are using sun. With the help of sun and solar cells, which is a photovoltaic device, we convert solar energy into electrical energy, and that electrical energy can be utilized for various kind of applications. So yeah, so outline of the presentation is I will talk about Indian PV scenario, followed by silicon PV technology, in which I will focus about silicon solar cell characterization, and progress in silicon photovoltaics, which has happened over the period of time. And towards the end, I will just try to give a brief introduction about the kind of work which I am doing, because the general introduction is important for the audience, because here I believe that faculty from Hindi, English, arts, science, all the streams people are attached here. So attached means that they are connected in this presentation. So if we talk about photovoltaic activities, these activities started in our country around 2010 majorly, because that time National Solar Mission was announced. So in 2015, an image was shown in newspaper and at the websites, internet, so that the Cochin airport was the world's first solar airport. So that means in year 2010, when mission was announced, that time, after that, so many solar activities started, that world's first solar airport itself was in our country itself. So National Solar Mission was later on, its target were revised from 20 gigawatt to 100 gigawatt, and further later on at different stages also. So under this program, our country has shown world's largest renewable energy expansion program, in which Ministry of New and Renewable Energy proposed to achieve to meet the targets through large and medium scale solar projects, through rooftop solar projects, where renewable production with solar wind hybrid plant was done. Under this vision itself, in 2015, our country, our Prime Minister, and Paris, their head, like they joined together, they joined their hands together, and International Solar Alliance was made. So in 2021, in this International Solar Alliance, more than 100 countries are participating, and where our country has taken the lead, and its headquarters is based in Gurgaon, National Institute of Solar Energy. So in year 2021, there was one sun declaration, where it was said that we have to realize the vision of one sun, one world, one grid through interconnected green grid, so that we all the countries can participate together so as to harness the solar energy and utilize it for the benefits of humankind. So there was a conference on smart metering in 2023, in which people talk about that if we talk about the capital's peak power requirement, is around 7,000 megawatt, but that peak 10% energy is only used for few hours out of total 8,760 hours of in a year. So if these kind of requirements, which are not for throughout the year, those kind of demands could be realized by renewable energy sources and efficient storage system, because as you know, when power electricity is generated at a distance, and then its distribution system is done so as to distribute it through the regular grid system, it involves a lot of losses. So these kind of demands could be realized with the help of localized renewable energy generation and its utilization for these kind of requirements. With these words, now I will move towards the silicon PV technology. PV is the abbreviation for photovoltaic technology. If we talk about solar cells, solar cell efficiency has increased over the period of time. From this graph shows that how from 1975 to the present date, different solar cell technologies have emerged and their efficiencies has increased. So here in this presentation, I will talk about silicon solar cell, because this is the first generation solar cell and has captured the whole photovoltaic market majorly, because more than 85% market is through these kind of modules which utilizes silicon solar cells. If we talk about in general about silicon solar technology, so let us see from the extreme left. This is the polysilicon material, polysilicon chunks. These polysilicon chunks are converted in the form of ingots. This is ingot. And then these ingots are converted in the form of wafer. They are sliced in the form of wafer. These are thin pieces of silicon. Then these wafers are converted in solar cell. I will describe about this the process, whole cell fabrication process in coming slides. And then these solar cells are connected together so as to make modules, which I think all of you have seen. Maybe in your college also these kind of modules must have been installed. And I believe that after the presentation, at least student will be able to identify the main components of these modules. So these modules are then go to the field, installed at the rooftop or in a big park for power generation. So this is the whole value chain for silicon technology. In this whole value chain, research is going on in different areas. If we start from the left side, talk about ingot. So then aspect on which people are working, because if you increase wafer size, in that case more power can be generated from one device itself. Another area is wafer thickness reduction. If wafer thickness is more, that means you are utilizing more material. So if to reduce the photovoltaic cost, this is another area in which thin wafer, people are talking about reducing the wafer thickness. Another area, if we go towards the wafer and cell part, middle part, another area on which people are working is advanced cell structures, new concepts, and new cell measurements. And towards the end, when we talk about module, different kind of modified testing procedures, different kind of interconnection of the solar cells so that more and more power can be generated, less and less losses are there. So here I have tried to show that how from polysilicon material it is melted, and then in this melt a seed is placed. Seed is a tiny thing which is first inserted into the melt, and slowly it is pulled out with rotation at a very slow speed, so that this melt is converted in the form of ingot. Ingot is basically a block from which you will cut the wafer, which will be used for cell fabrication. So this melt is converted into the form of an ingot, which is shown here. It is red hot, very high temperature is used, around 1400 and 1500 degrees Celsius during this process. So this is the way the ingots are made and wafers are prepared. So once if ingot is made, silicon material is made, this large material, this large ingot is cut into small pieces, and then it is sliced to make wafer. From this wafer, if students of science are there, subject are there, so they must be knowing about p-n junction. Doping of the phosphorus material is done in p-type material so as to make a p-n junction. On that p-n junction is basically the heart of the solar cell. On this p-n junction based material, then the contacts are printed, metal contacts are made by screen printing process, and solar cells are made. These solar cells are then wired together so as to make a layer, which is then put in the between the encapsulating resin and protective film so as to make module. So that is the, in nutshell, the whole process by which wafer is converted in module. So if we look much closer towards a module, in module there is an interconnected layer of solar cells, and on the front side and the back side there are at the top front and top back there are toughened glasses so as to protect it from the environmental harsh conditions, and in between there are resins so as that to protect this layer of solar cell, because these solar cell wafers are very thin, around 180 micron. It is very thin, so its protection is also very important, because all of you know that once you install this module in your field or at the rooftop, they survive for several years, 15 to 20 years. So its structure need to be very robust. If we talk about the different components, so this is the anodized aluminum frame with the help of which you hold these modules. Then below that there is a transparent tempered glass, highly transparent tempered glass, and then above and below the photovoltaic solar cell layer, there are encapsulant material, and at the back side, an insulating back sheet is there. Insulating back sheet is important because we are going to generate high voltages here. And if somebody is touching these panels, they should not be getting the shock. So insulation and different kind of tests are actually done before selling these modules into the field. And at the back side, you may have seen some kind of junction box from which the connections which needs to be done to the module for power generation are taken out. This is the basic structure of a module. So I talked about little bit about solar cell. Then these cells are interconnected with each other so as to make module. And then these modules are connected in series or parallel depending upon the required voltage or current. We make arrays. So these modules then go into the field and then used for power generation. In between around 2018-19, when this mission was going on in the country, that time initially there was some issue that these modules were coming with a warranty of 20 to 25 years. However, they were degrading faster in their lifetime. So these issues, because of that, if you invest so much money in installing these modules in the field, then there will be huge financial and environmental issues, losses, if the module failed in the field, and a lot of solar waste will be generated. So at that time, many activities were there for the establishment of proper standards. So IEC standards were modified as per the Indian climatic condition, and during that time only, for solar cell calibration also, primary standard calibration facility project was given to CSR NPL. That time I was working in CSR NPL New Delhi, and I was responsible for the establishment of this facility there. So these degradation were faster in our country because we were heavily dependent on import of cells, modules, test setups, and that time labs were limited which were able to test these conditions. But now situation is different because when this mission was going on in the country, our country's infrastructure in the area of photovoltaic has enhanced considerably, and we are now capable of testing these modules in the field as per our country's climatic conditions. Now moving on to the silicon solar cell. A solar cell is an electronic device which directly converts sunlight into electricity based on based on a photovoltaic effect. So in this silicon solar cell, what happens, there is a base material which is a p-type silicon material in which phosphorus doping is done so as to make n-type emitter, and then front and back there are contacts are made so that when sunlight is incident on the device, it generates electron hole pair, and these charge carriers, they are then collected at respective electrodes for the generation of the power. Different kind of layers are also used for better utilization of solar energy in these devices, which I will discuss in coming slides. So the photovoltaic effect is a process that generates voltage or electric current in a photovoltaic cell when it is exposed to sunlight. This effect was first discovered in 1839 by Edmond, and this is a solar cell's symbol, which is actually used general symbol. So these are different steps of solar cell fabrication, silicon solar cell fabrication. We are starting with a wafer, which is then textured, like its surface is modified so that reflection from the surface reduces. And then diffusion is done so that to make a PN junction. And then edge isolation, like from the corner of the wafer, sides of the wafers are then cleaned so that there should not be connection between front and back, and it is cleaned. After that, fifth step is the deposition of anti-reflection coating so that more and more light will go into the device, followed by the contact printing. Contacts are important for charge carrier collection, followed by a sintering process. Sintering is basically heating, a high temperature heating step, followed by the testing and cell short. So as we are all the time talking about solar cells, so this device is used to utilize solar energy, sunlight. So what is sunlight? Sunlight is natural light which when travels from top of the atmosphere to the earth surface, then a part of it is absorbed through various layers: ozone, upper dust layer, air molecule, water vapor, lower dust layer present in the atmosphere, or a part of it is also reflected and again scattered back by the different kind of molecules present in air. So this light which is reaching to the surface, earth surface, that is actually being utilized for the power conversion. So this light is described in terms of air mass, am. Am is the am is the abbreviation for air mass. Air mass is actually the path length that light takes through the atmosphere, normalized to the shortest possible path length. Suppose this is the sun's position, this is the place where we are standing. So then sunlight is traveling through the atmosphere. When sun is directly overhead, this is the lowest path length that light will travel through the atmosphere. And when the position of sun is different, then the distance traveled by the light will be different. So the different positions are defined in terms of this angle theta. Theta is the angle from zenith, from the position when the sun is directly overhead, and am is defined as am is equal to 1 by cos theta. The theta is the angle which sun's light direction is making with this the lowest shortest possible path length direction. So air mass is defined in terms of AM0, AM1, AM1.5. Basically, I will try to explain the important terms which are actually used in the area of photovoltaics through these slides. So AM0 is basically the spectrum, sunlight spectrum outside the atmosphere, which is known as zero atmosphere. AM1 is the spectrum after the sunlight travel through the atmosphere to the sea level, when the sun is directly overhead. That is known as 1 atmosphere, because light has now traveled through 1 atmosphere. AM 1.5, that is a term which is used to describe about the light after taking into account the sun's movement throughout the day, and this is described in terms of Z zenith angle 48.2. AM 1.5 is the air mass. 1.5 is used to describe the reference solar spectral distribution, which is shown in the next slide. So if the light whatever we are using for the device measurement, that is not natural sunlight, like we are not doing outdoor measurement, then in the laboratory we use simulated light, like solar simulator. So in solar simulator, we use some light source, a power supply, different kind of optical components, filters, and some controls. So with the help of that system, we try to create those conditions in the laboratory which are in the outside atmosphere, at the outside the laboratory. So this is the solar spectrum, AM0 and AM1 spectrum. Like you can see in this spectral irradiance, there are light is present in the wavelength range 250 to 2500 nanometer. And when we move from top of the atmosphere to the radiation at the sea level, there is some decrease in the total irradiance. And this is the AM 1.5G reference solar spectral irradiance distribution, which is used for the solar cell device measurements in the laboratories. When we perform these kind of experiment in the device, in the laboratory, so the device which has come for generating the solar light, sunlight, with that a reference cell generally comes. That reference cell is used to transfer the calibration value. These are very small in surface area, these kind of cells, and they're mounted on a fixture because they have to be used whenever you do some kind of measurement with the system, like they have to survive for several years. So these kind of devices are used to check the quality of light which is coming from the system which you are going to use for your own measurements. Now, in solar cell, as this basic structure of this I have already explained in earlier slide. If we talk about the output of this device, that is described in terms of IV characteristics, current, voltage, spectra. So this is a typical IV spectra in which you can see this kind of curve we have obtained. So here there are few device parameter like short circuit current, open circuit voltage, efficiency, and fill factor. Mainly we all know about the efficiency. Like, okay, we always say that what is the efficiency of this device? If efficiency is high, that means device is good. Efficiency is low, device is bad. So efficiency is a number which is calculated with the help of certain parameter like fill factor, like how good this curve is, how much square the shape of this curve is. I will not go into the detail of series resistance, shunt resistance, but just to give you an idea that efficiency depends upon the shape of this IV curve, which will decides the fill factor. And also open circuit voltage, like the maximum voltage which can be drawn from the device and maximum current which can be drawn from the device, they decide that what will be the efficiency. Of course, these 2 points cannot be used for power generation, because when voltage is high, highest current is zero, current is high, voltage is zero, the power is zero. So we have to find out a point at which you can draw maximum voltage and maximum current. At that point you can draw maximum power from the device. And to characterize this kind of devices, we do two kind of characterization: IV characteristics and spectral response, like a different wavelength how a device is responding. So if the climatic conditions plays very important role for the device performance. If we see for the temperature effect, if temperature is changing, that spectra is also changing. This is the condition at lower temperature. If you increase its voltage output, current of course slightly increases, but voltage, open circuit voltage and curve in this direction shifts towards the lower side. So output voltage, overall output voltage, power output reduces. If you increase light intensity, like light which is incident on the device, if that light is increased, in that case current will increase, there will be little change in the potential output, the voltage which you can draw from the device, but overall there will be increase in the power. Maximum power will be increasing with the increase in light intensity. So temperature and intensity, these two parameters play an important role. So it is not like if I am doing some experiment in Bhopal and you are doing some experiment in Indore, or somebody is performing an experiment in some other country, our values cannot be different if device is same. So its output should be, the measured output should be same. So for that, there are certain test conditions, standard test conditions under which we perform measurements, like the total irradiance of the light which is incident on the device, that should be 1000 watt per meter square. Cell temperature should be 25 degrees C, because if you change temperature, again the power output will change. If you change irradiance, power output is changing. So these three conditions are kept fixed during any kind of measurement for photovoltaic devices. Only then we can compare 2 or 3 measurements together and can say, okay, these measurements are performed under the same conditions. So similarly, during the calibration also, there are some more sophisticated conditions are there for the measurements. So this is about the general conditions about what is silicon solar cell, what is its basic structure, what kind of characterizations are done, what kind of conditions are basically kept. And this technology has developed over a period of time and the main focus is to reduce the cost of the PV. And for that, different kind of approaches and different kind of structures are being studied by people. If we talk about late 90s and 2000, that time there were two different kind of structure. Industrial solar cell structure were different. This was aluminum BSF kind of structure in which efficiencies were between 15 to 19%. And in laboratory based,
Excuse me, Vandana ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, we have one more speaker to speak on.
Yeah.
Request you to kindly conclude in 5 minutes. We have
Okay.
one.
Sure. So that time, that time there was a difference still in the industrial solar cell efficiency and lab scale solar cell. And industrial solar cell efficiencies, there were only three structure which were having high efficiency. But with with time and the development of technology, different structures came into picture. And these days people are talking about solar cell structure in which more than 20% efficiencies are being realized at industry level. And for that, we can say the main thanks goes to this particular research area, which is silicon surface passivation. I will just give in 2 to 3 minutes a brief introduction about it, because I am working in this particular area. Till now I've tried to give a very general information about this photovoltaic area. So in silicon surface passivation, we try to address recombination losses. At the surface of the device, there are defects, and because of those defects, there are recombination, like charge carrier recombine with each other rather than generating power. So that kind of losses are reduced with the help of depositing some film over the surface, so that the charge carrier doesn't recombine with each other, rather they help in power generation. So that area is called surface passivation related research, in which when we talk about that wafer thickness is being reduced. So if wafer is thin, both the surfaces of the material contributes to, both the surfaces are very important, and its passivation is also very important. So for this, if we want to realize high efficiencies at lower thicknesses, we need to reduce these recombination losses. In that, basically I have worked on atomic layer deposition technique, in which is a sequential process, and very uh, thin films can be deposited with the help of sequential process, where surface control growth is there. With the help of that, this is the system, ALD system, on which we have deposited various kind of material. And film growth depend upon surface preparation, precursor pulse, many technical parameter which I am not going into the detail. But the main thing is that this technique can deposit conformal films on textured silicon surface, which is used in industrial silicon solar cell technology. So I have worked on aluminum oxide ALD process with the help of hafnium oxide films, and then plasma ALD process also we have used. And aluminum doped zinc oxides are also deposited with the help of this system.
तेरे को आती है क्या स्पेलिंग?
Okay, so basically with the help of this system we have
इनकी स्पेलिंग लिखना, लाइन क्यों खींच दी? उधर लिख तो रखी मैंने स्पेलिंग.
हाँ, who is this Bhavya Mandal? Kindly mute your mic.
अब ये 1 क्यों लिखा है यहाँ पे? जब 16 ही है ये.
Sorry to interrupt you.
I think there is time is up.
भागवा मंडल, प्लीज आप अपना बंद करिए माइक.
So I will stop here only, because I think other speaker is also waiting.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you. So this was all about. I couldn't give much idea about the kind of research which I am doing, but general thing I tried to cover, so that the audience could get an idea about the kind of work, kind of area in which I am working. Thank you. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू सो मच वन्ना मैम. आपने जैसे बताया कि एक जिज्ञासा प्रोग्राम किया था, जिसमें केंद्रीय विद्यालय के बच्चे आए थे लेबोरेटरी देखने के लिए. मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगी, आपको खुशी होगी ये जानकर कि मैडम कल्पना वीरेंद्र सिंह मैम के सुपरविजन में और हमारे डॉक्टर लक्ष्मण सिंह गौरसिया सर है इंग्लिश के निर्देशन में हम लोग ने भी यहाँ पर कॉलेज चलो अभियान शुरू किया था, और जिसमें आसपास के जो भी शासकीय स्कूल्स हैं उसके सारे छोटे बच्चे 11th के 12th के और यहाँ तक कि मिडिल लेवल के भी वो आए थे. हमारी लैब्स देखी, उन्हें बहुत मजे आए और वो वाकई में इंस्पायर्ड हुए हैं, और जब भी उनका 12th होगा तो वो यहाँ पर एडमिशन लेंगे साइंस में. तो मैं बस मुझे याद आ गया कि जो आप बता रही हैं जिज्ञासा प्रोग्राम, वैसा कुछ हमारे प्रधानमंत्री कॉलेज ऑफ एक्सीलेंस में भी मैम के निर्देशन में हो चुका है।
वेरी नाइस।
और मैम मुझे नहीं मालूम था कि मेरे रूफटॉप पे जो सोलर पैनल्स लगे हैं वो किस तरह से बने हैं, लेकिन आपने बहुत ही सक्सेंट वे में बताया कि वो पॉलीसिलिकॉन को मेल्ट करके बनाए गए हैं। थैंक यू सो मच। अब मुझे लग रहा है मैं थोड़ी सी एम्पावर्ड फील कर रही हूँ कि मुझे मालूम है कि वो कैसे बनते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच, इट वॉज वेरी इंसाइटफुल मैम।
थैंक यू।
Now I would like to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Archana Lakhani ma'am. She is also a renowned scientist in the field of experimental condensed matter physics. Dr. Lakhani is currently working as a scientist G at the UGC DAE Consortium for Scientific Research, Indore. Dr. Lakhani completed her BSc with a gold medal and MSc from Vikram University, Ujjain. She then went on to pursue her PhD in experimental condensed matter physics from the UGC DAE Consortium for Scientific Research, Indore, which she completed in 2005. Dr. Lakhani's professional experience is truly impressive. She has worked as a postdoctoral fellow at the Institute of Plasma Research, Gandhinagar, and as a cryogenic scientist in the ultra-low temperature division at Oxford, UK. Her research interests lie in the transport and magnetic properties of quantum materials at low temperatures and high magnetic fields. Throughout her career, Dr. Lakhani has received numerous awards and recognition for her contributions to science. She is a recipient of MP Young Scientist Award, APS Grant, and the CSIR Aspire Award 2024, among many others. She has also published over 100 papers in reputed peer-reviewed journals and has presented her research at various national and international conferences. Dr. Lakhani's achievements are a testament to her hard work, dedication, and passion for science. As a woman in a male-dominated field, she is an inspiration to many young girls and women who aspire to pursue a career in science. Her presence here today is a reminder that with determination and perseverance, anything is possible. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Archana Lakhani, who will be speaking to us today about her research and experiences as a woman in science. I am sure that her talk will be informative, inspiring, and thought-provoking, and I look forward to hearing her share her insights with us. Dr. Archana Lakhani, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, Archana.
Ma'am, we have 30 minutes for this session, ma'am.
Okay, 30 minutes. Okay. Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me for this kind of event. And I really congratulate and thank that this kind of events have been thought and being organized. And I think they are very useful and the demand of time because in spite of various progress in all directions and encouraging science students, girl students, and taking the career as science. Still, there are a lot of things lacking, and I think we should discuss. So I really thank all the organizers, especially Professor Kalpana Madam, Professor Rajshri Madam, and Sri Sengarji. Thank you, ma'am. So I didn't know this is a technical talk, and I thought it is about equity, talking about accelerating equity in science for women and girls for pursuing career in science. So I have actually made my presentation, and rather I should say a talk in this way. And at the end, I would tell you what kind of work I am doing. Because as I understood this particular 10th International Day of Women and Science and International Day of Women in Science and Technology, this is in support of the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. So since I'm working on this quantum technology, on quantum materials, I would give you a very brief introduction at the end. But initially, I want to talk about how we can accelerate equity in science for women. So I would share my presentation. Please let me know whether it is visible. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. This talk is about accelerating equity in science. And as we all know, this is 10th International Day of Women and Girls in Science. And I have surrounded my talk in around three questions. Is it changing? I think not yet.
No, not yet, ma'am. Not yet.
Oh, why it's not changing? Let me share again.
Ma'am, you can go ahead like this because actually this is in Google Meet, and sometimes
Okay, fine.
Google Meet does not support
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
these things.
So I would like to talk around about three questions about accelerating equity in science. First of all, I want to talk what is equity in science and why do we need equity in science and how we can achieve it. So my talk surrounds around three questions: what, why, and how to achieve this equity in science. I think it is changing now. Can you see my second slide?
Yes, ma'am. I can see your second slide.
Okay. I think it's very slow, although I have switched off my video. Yeah. Okay. So since this is the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology, which is recognizing the importance of quantum science and need for wider awareness of its past and future impacts, dozens of national scientific societies have gathered together to support making this 100 years of quantum mechanics as the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. In June 2024, the United Nations declared this year as the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. And according to this declaration, this year, worldwide initiatives will be observed through activities at all levels in aiming to increase the public awareness of the importance of quantum science and applications. So, first of all, before talking anything about quantum, I want to talk about what is equity. if you can see if my screen is visible to you, you can see equity has this nice picture about equality and equity. This picture shows the difference between equality and equity. If we go by definition, just by the literally meaning, equity has multiple definitions, including the value of ownership in an asset, the absence of unfair differences between groups, and a system of legal rules. The term equity refers to the fairness and justice and is different from equality. Equality means providing the same to all, but equity is a bit different. It is not synonymous to equality. Equity means recognizing that we do not all start from the same place and we must acknowledge and make adjustments to the imbalances because of the different starting point. The process is definitely ongoing and require us to identify and overcome intentional and unintentional barriers arising from the biases or systematic structures which we usually observe in our societal norms. So equality means providing a same platform to everybody, but equity means supporting the weak and making the weaker section in any direction to the level of competition. So equity addresses individual needs for the fair outcomes. So why do we need equity? This is my second question. Since I have already introduced that equity in science and gender equality are both vital for the achievement of this internationally agreed developmental goals, which is in line with the 2030 agenda as well for sustainable development. In the past decades, the global community has made lots of efforts in inspiring and engaging women and girls in science. But still, women and girls continue to be excluded from participating fully in science. So, in order to achieve full and equal access and participation in science for girls and women, and to further achieve gender equality and empowerment of women and girls, the United Nations has declared this 11th February as the day, specifically the day to celebrate the celebrate the woman in science. So the women in science are actually can be, because it's a 50% population, they can be the agents of change. So recognizing the role of women and girls in science, not only as beneficiaries, but also for making them the agents of change and in the progress of science, and in view of accelerating progress towards this particular theme of quantum science and technology, we are observing and celebrating this particular day. So this is why is one of the things. So our small efforts will add to the collective voices for accelerating equality in science. So, why? But this is okay that this particular day has been recognized and we are celebrating. But why do we need this equity? So, we have seen that there are still some, in spite of so much of progress and encouragement, the ground reality is something else. So, at present, less than about 30% of researchers worldwide are women, only 30%. And according to UNESCO data, only 30% of female students take up science and engineering subjects in their higher education. The scene is very different in higher education in comparison to school education and up to the college education. Globally, female students are particularly low. Only 5% in natural sciences, mathematics, and statistics. Although our Indian scene is much better in these terms, but if you see globally, it's quite less, and only 88% in engineering and construction designs. So what are the reasons? These kinds of events are really organized to accelerate this thinking as well. What are the reasons behind that? Definitely various social and gender biases, lack of self-confidence in many women still, and considering some disciplines of natural sciences, especially like physics, as subject of geniuses. But personally thinking, we can rather go through these with hard work and right efforts. This is what I feel. So how it is possible, how this is possible to overcome these difficulties. I would like to highlight this particular issue, that how it can be done by initially taking some exemplary examples of women scientists in India and abroad as well. I would like to recommend, if you can see my screen, I would like to recommend these two books on women in science, which was published a few years ago, and this Leelavati's Daughter, which is published in 2010 as an outcome of a conference. It is a very good compilation of women scientists in India, this Leelavati's Daughters, and very encouraging for girls and women. So on this platform, I would like to recommend this book for the encouragement and having some role models in our life. You can Our girl students can go through this, and not only girl students, everybody should go through this, so that we can know what kind of difficulties were faced by women at the earlier stages to pursue their career in sciences. So first, its name is Leelavati's Daughter. Leelavati was the first woman student of mathematics. She was daughter of Bhaskaracharya, and he was an Indian mathematician and astronomer. Being born in a Hindu Brahmin family of scholars, mathematicians, astronomers, Bhaskaracharya was the leader of cosmic observatory at Ujjain, which is the main mathematical center of ancient India. And his main work was Siddhant Shiromani, which is divided into four parts: Leelavati, Bijganit, Grahaganit, and Goladhyay. And these four sections deal with arithmetic, algebra, mathematics of planets and spheres, respectively. And Leelavati she was Bhaskaracharya's daughter, and she was very brilliant and intelligent student in mathematics. So, my second example is because it's a global event, and I must talk about Marie Curie on this event. She was the first woman to receive the Nobel Prize. In fact, she received two Nobel Prizes, one in physics and one in chemistry. She was the only person to be awarded the Nobel Prize in two scientific categories of physics and chemistry. And to introduce about her, Marie Curie resolve and insatiable curiosity made her an icon in the field of modern science. Despite a career of physically demanding and ultimately fatal work, actually, she discovered these two elements, polonium and radium, and championed the use of this radiation in medicine and fundamentally changed our understanding of radioactivity. Curie's parents were Polish and they both were teachers, but their employment was risky and unstable. That's why Curie's father moved from job to job, and the whole family had to move from smaller and smaller apartments. When she was 11, her mother died of tuberculosis, and the elder sister died of typhoid. And from the age of 17, for 6 years, she worked as a tutor and governess while attempting to study in her spare time. And finally, at the age of 24, she enrolled at the Sorbonne University, but she could not attend the University of Warsaw, which is a very good university, whereas her brother could do that, because the Russian government prohibited women from attending university anywhere in its empire at that time. Later, she studied and did her research in Paris, and now the world famous institute known as Curie Institute. She established and became a director of that institute. So this is one of the most inspiring story about the women in science, which inspires us, and from what kind of background one can rise to. The highest thought position which one can think of in the science, and the Nobel Prize. Second example I want to explain here is about a scientist lady called Kamala Soni. Before she could be known as woman in science, she had many hurdles to cross, and that too when she had fully support from her family. Being in a family of chemists, after passing her BSc from Bombay University and having stood first in her exams, she thought that doing research work from the famous institute of Tata Institute of Sciences, Bangalore, was a matter of course. She then applied for admission there and received a prompt refusal. And the reason cited was that she was a woman. The illustrious director of the institute then, Professor C.V. Raman, Sir C.V. Raman, Nobel laureate, did not think a woman scientist to be a research material. And Kamala refused to accept this refusal based on the gender bias. A firm believer of Mahatma Gandhi, she decided to do satyagraha in the Raman office. Until she was admitted, Professor Raman granted admission on condition that for 1 full year she would be on probation and she would work, her work would not be recognized until the director was satisfied about her quality of work, and the condition was her presence should not distract her male researchers from their work. Kamala accepted these terms and proved to be a great researcher with her hard work, sincerity, and discipline. Later, Professor C.V. Raman was very impressed to admit other lady students to the institute from then on. And later, she became director of the Institute of Science, Bombay, although she faced many hurdles due to internal politics. And when Dr. Satyavati, then chairman of Indian Council of Medical Research, knew about her, she invited her when she was 84 and felicitated her in an impressive ceremony in New Delhi. But ironically, at this ceremony, Kamala Soni collapsed. But what better end could one wish for? So this is one very inspiring story in chemistry as well. Another story I have taken from these Leelavati's daughters is about first female doctor, Mrs. Anandi Gopal Joshi. Anandi Gopal Joshi was 14 when she first became a mother, but her baby died in 10 days due to lack of medical care facilities. Facing such an immense trauma and sadness at 14, she decided to do something about healthcare in India. She told her husband that she was determined to become a doctor. He supported her decision and begged her to study medicine. Anandi Gopal then applied to the Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania and was granted admission there. She traveled to New York by ship and began her medical training at the age of 19. But while in America, her health was not so good from the initial days, and she even went on to suffer tuberculosis. Despite all that, she stayed motivated to complete her MD in medicine. She had become the first woman of Indian origin to study and graduate with a degree of medicine in United States. And she went on to inspire generations of women to pursue their higher education. So I wanted to tell you by these three examples that in spite of such hardships at the very young age, these women were determined to make the mark in science and really made the mark not only for themselves but paved the way for other women scientists. Had they not given this kind of sacrifice and not shown this kind of dedication, probably we would not have been at this stage right now. So with this cartoon, I don't know whether it is visible right now. Yes, it is. Fighting diversity battles on top of your research is exhausting, especially for women. They have to really cross lots of hurdles. And in my personal opinion, in spite of these washing and doing the chores, there are many other hurdles as well which women has to cross. Sometimes which males part do not have to. But definitely, believe me, being a woman in science, I can say it can be overcome with with our own determination and mental prowess. And this is why, to understand the problems, the societal problems, not only on the individual basis, but the societal problems and on the governance side, we celebrate and promote this kind of days to ensure the equity in science. But only celebration and recognition is not enough. We must do something apart from encouraging at the individual level, which is actually a personal attribute. we should do something at the level of society and governance as well to make a conducive and encouraging atmosphere for women in science. So, accelerating women in science involves providing various opportunities for women to succeed in science and technology fields. In my opinion, I tried to think and uh, tabulate some of the ideas which can be done, which we can really think and implement these things. One is dismantling gender stereotypes and biases in science, and education, providing education, support, and proper representation of women. So, dismantling these gender stereotypes and biases should include more discoveries and stories from female scientists in school textbooks to establish a positive association between women and science from a very early age and recognize women's contribution to the science. In education, we should provide girls and women with the skills and confidence to succeed in maths and science. We can encourage girls to take advanced maths and science classes. We can make science courses more welcoming for women. For supporting them in particular, we can create a welcoming work environment and improve the job hirings for women, their retention in jobs and promotion pathways. We can recognize women's contribution by honoring women scientists who have made significant and original contribution in science, and also their representation. We can use their representation to show women's contribution, what they have done in science and technology through this kind of programs which your college has organized. And promoting women leadership, promoting women into leadership positions in science and technology so that they can better understand uh, the need and problems of women in science and technology. Now, these are on the basis of, I mean, we should collectively do these kind of reforms and do something to help women take up the scientific careers. Apart from this, I feel we should have to make quality scientists and get better researchers in the form of women. Individually also, women should think to pursue the career in science. And for this, on the individual level, definitely we all know whether he or she is a woman or men. They should be determined in whatever we do, whatever he or she does, because any in-depth study or anything cannot be successfully done without being determined in that particular field. And every field, to succeed in every field, persistence is required. We need to succeed, we need to surround ourselves with positive people to help achieve our goals. Knowing our own worth with when others refuse to recognize, self-respect, introspect what we are worth for and in what field we can go, what we are best at. And I think with these kind of attributes, women can succeed in science, definitely in science. And women should be ensured that they can have a fulfilling life in scientific career. And of course, this comes with a little bit of compromise, but which career doesn't have compromises? Now, if a little time permits, I would like to take 5 minutes on what we are working, because what I am working, because it is definitely well corroborating with today's talk. Because I work on quantum materials, and this year's International Women's Science Day is in support of being organized globally in support of quantum science and technology. So I work on quantum materials, and as I have been introduced already, that I work in this UGCDA Consortium for Scientific Research. This resides inside this Devi Ahilya campus, and we have large number of facilities which can be utilized by universities, colleges, and can be utilized. You all can see these facilities also. This is a user facility. We have lots of magnetic transport and thermal measurement facilities. We have lots of sample preparation facilities. We have spectroscopic facilities. Apart from sample preparation facilities, we have thin film deposition facilities. So I'm not naming all that. This is the list of all these facilities. At a single place, such a large chunk of facilities is very rare to see. And we have this in Indore at UGCDA CSR. And I would like to inform you that one can visit these facilities and even utilize these facilities free of cost, because the mandate of this institute is to help users from various universities and colleges. So we have a low temperature and high magnetic facilities also, on which I work. This is a cryogenic facility where liquid helium and liquid nitrogen are liquefied from gases. This is the photograph of back in 2002 when I was working for my PhD. This is a dilution refrigerator on which I worked. This was a German machine which we brought from Berlin, and from the two bad machines we made one working machine, and I was lucky to work on this dilution refrigerator machine, which works on the principle of quantum mechanics. And this is really very rare and challenging machine. With this we could achieve 60 millikelvin, which was the lowest temperature achieved in Madhya Pradesh, still lowest in Madhya Pradesh, which we could achieve using this machine. And this is a very powerful tool for working on quantum technology. People are talking about quantum computers. Quantum computers at present cannot be worked without these low temperature facilities. At present, I'm working.
Excuse me, Lakhani ma'am. It's just a reminder. We have
Yeah,
just conclude the session.
I'm
It's just a
finishing.
reminder.
Yeah. So at present, I'm working on this particular system at low temperatures and high magnetic fields. So with this slide, I would like to summarize my talk, that how nice it would be if we can have electricity which could travel forever without being diminished, and if we could have computers which can run exponentially faster with perfect accuracy. And that quantum technology is the answer. Quantum technology is the answer for these, which could build these abilities. So there are various frontiers in quantum materials like quantum computing, quantum communication, and quantum sensing. And to for us, I mean, to work on this, this 2 years back, our cabinet has approved this national quantum mission now to scale up the scientific and industrial research and development for quantum technologies, and sanction around 6,000 crores to scale up these, to accelerate the quantum technology for economic growth and leverage India into a leading nation in this direction. So I just wanted to tell you that women have a really bright future even in this particular area of science and technology, because government is doing lots of they have really giving lots of opportunities not only for women, but everybody to take up the career in the quantum science and technology. So yeah, with this, I would like to thank you. Thank you very much.
Much, Dr. Arshna Lakhani ma'am, for your insightful talk. And it was really nice the way you inspired our audience, especially the students, to take up science career, and that how fulfilling it could be. And ma'am, you also informed us about the various initiatives that the government is taking and the kind of expenditure, magnitude of expenditure that government is doing on quantum theory. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Kalpana.
It's now my pleasure to invite our principal, Dr. Kalpana Virendra Singh ma'am, to deliver the presidential address. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kalpana Virendra Singh ma'am. Ma'am, can you hear? Can you hear us?
Kindly unmute your mic.
एक मिनट खत्म हो जाएगा.
In a short while, ma'am will be with us, delivering her presidential address.
Okay. Should I speak or I just lost the
Yes, ma'am.
connection? Yeah, okay.
No, ma'am,
So thank you very
we are
much.
getting.
Okay, thank you very much. And with this, I would like to thank Dr. Archana Lakhani as well as Dr. Vandana for giving us insight on what does it means to accelerate equity in science, as well as that how can we work for science practitioners, and how can we promote more girls to opt for science, and as well as Dr. Vandana and Dr. Archana, they just give us an insight of the work which they are doing. So it's really great to hear them. और आज ये जो ग्लोबल वुमेन्स ब्रेकफास्ट के मौके पर हम सब लोग यूनाइट हुए हैं और हम सब लोग एक प्लेटफॉर्म शेयर कर रहे हैं. So definitely I would like to thank you all for all doing that also. इसी के साथ एक और चीज़ जो मैं यहाँ सोचती हूँ and which I want to address and add to also is that whenever we talk about accelerating equity in science, this will not be done only with the help of women promoting other women. It will be done when we will leave gender biases and when we will come together and when we'll work as humans instead of acting as male or females. Only then this equity in science could be achieved. Definitely, Archana was talking about this International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. Yes, this is International Year of Science and Technology, and this year's Global Women's Breakfast theme addresses that too. That uh, quantum science and technology, once it was believed as the men's domain, and nobody dared females, as far as females are concerned, females dared less to work on this quantum science and technology. But yes, we could see from the pictures which Archana showed us, and also the some of the instances on when she was talking about the equipment which she worked on, they were really inspiring. And with that, we can just hope that more girls, women to work in this field in the years to come, more girls and more women to have Nobel prizes. Because my what I can say that what I feel bad about is that when we are talking about women scientists, yes, there are women scientists who are working on these fields, but whatever field is that, actually still there are a very few women and there are lesser number of women scientists as compared to men who are working in these scientific fields, who are getting Nobel prizes and who are doing successful research. So it's basically a area of concern and a matter of concern. With this Global Women's Breakfast, I hope and I aspire that in the years to come, we'll have more number of women scientists, we'll have more number of female scientists who can just write their proposals for Nobel Prize, and they will get more Nobel Prize, whether it is in India or it is or it is internationally. But that will be the success story if we are getting more women in these Nobel fields and in Nobel Prize field. That will be the success story we are looking for, and that will be the success story we aspire for. So thank you, Archana, thank you, Vandana, and thank you all my faculty for joining here. Thank you all the students who might be joining us on YouTube, or if they have classes, they might be joining us on YouTube in the later half of the day. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Rajeshri Sheth, Sadiq, and all the organizers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Like Archana ma'am and Vandana ma'am, who were an inspiration with the talk, I would like to just tell you that Dr. Kalpana Virendra Singh ma'am herself is a walking inspiration. She is a role model for the students here because she herself is from the science background, and she keeps inspiring all the students who come in her contact. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Finally, for a formal vote of thanks, I would like to invite Dr. Sadiq Mansoori. Uh, Dr. Sadiq Mansoori is a very dedicated and active professor of the Department of English in Government Madhav College. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sadiq Mansoori, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I offer my sincere vote of thanks to our honorable speaker, Dr. Archana Lakhani, ma'am. And you have inspired us with your kind words, and we will continue to look towards for your guidance and further inspiration. I take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks to Dr. Vandana ma'am, Dr. Rashmi Sheth ma'am. I also wish to thank our Honorable Principal, Dr. Kalpana Singh ma'am, my colleagues and participants who have been with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was nice to be here.
Same here, ma'am. Ma'am, you.
I just want to add one thing. Can we all just switch on our video for a second so we can take a screenshot?
Sure.
Can we do that? Sadiq, will you please help me with taking a screenshot?
Yes, ma'am. I'll try to.
All please switch on their videos.
Dheeraj sir will take the screenshot.
Okay, Dheeraj, please go ahead. But first of all, please switch on your video.
Yes, I'll take.
But they have not gone on there.
I request to all the participants, kindly turn on your video so that we can have a photo together here on Google Meet. मैं सभी पार्टिसिपेंट से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं कि आप अपने वीडियो ऑन कर लीजिए, ताकि वीडियो कैमरा ऑन कर लीजिए ताकि हम सभी एक साथ एक फोटो के लिए गैदर हो सके.
Thank you very much if it is done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm signing off. Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you, Archana.
See you, ma'am, sometime.
Thank you.
Please do visit Indore.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much. We need your support, actually.
Sure, ma'am. Anytime.
Thank you.
Welcome everyone to IUPAC Global Women's Breakfast, GWB 2025, where we are accelerating equity in science. You are part of a network of more than 30,000 people overcoming barriers to gender equality in science, technology, engineering, and maths. Your efforts also support the UN Sustainable Development Goals, gender equality, and reduced inequalities. If this is the first time joining the GWB, you may be wondering how this all got started. The GWB founder, Professor Mary Garson, asked, "How can we celebrate Marie Curie on the centenary of her Nobel Prize in Chemistry, the IYC, and connect groups in support of women scientists?" Her idea was simply breakfast. Having breakfast together is a great way to network. To take networking one step further, she encouraged groups to interact with each other and create a handshake that traveled around the world.
My idea was quite simple. Women know how and when to network. They go out to breakfast. And to take networking one step further, I encouraged groups to interact with each other using social media, and in this way, we created a handshake that traveled around the globe.
The first global breakfast was an amazing success, with roughly 5,000 participants at 100 events in 40 countries, a community of organizations in support of women in chemistry. In 2019, the Global Breakfast returned as part of the centenary of the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry and the International Year of the Periodic Table, with over 10,000 participants at 200 events in 50 countries. The Global Breakfast is now an event that happens on a single day each year. The first events begin in New Zealand, progressing around the globe, ending in Hawaii. The influence of the GWB has grown over the years with an increasing number of events and participating countries. In 2025, the GWB will have hosted more than 2,000 total events in 100 countries. And the GWB is an official event of the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. Advances in quantum technology will be crucial to achieving many of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This year, we have challenged you to create inspiring videos in support of GWB and IYQ and post them on your favorite social media platforms. Check out the details on the website. Don't worry, you can still submit your videos through March 31st for another round of awards. Here are the videos selected for today's welcome.
Science and technology have the power to change the world, but only when everyone gets a seat at the table. Imagine a future where diversity and equity drive innovation, where science truly reflects the creativity and brilliance of all people.
We hope that you are inspired to make a difference where you are today. What are some things that you can do? Take time today to celebrate successes and achievements. Inspire the next generation to pursue careers in science. Support efforts to close the gender gap in science. Most importantly, reach out and make a connection with other GWB groups to see how you can accelerate progress together. A great way to connect with other groups later this year is to attend the IUPAC World Chemistry Congress happening in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia this July. Find out more at iupac2025.org. We thank everyone for hosting a breakfast event today. Your efforts are critical to achieving a brighter future. Thank you also to our wonderful sponsors, Royal Society of Chemistry, Bayer, American Chemical Society, De Gruyter, and Royal Australian Chemical Institute. Please plan to join us again next year for GWB 2026, happening February 10th. Have fun today and enjoy your breakfast.
अब आपको घुमाने के लिए हमने एक साथी थी गाड़ी में बैठ के घुमाओ उज्जैन में आप बताओ क्यों नहीं करा ये क्योंकि चलो हो गया बस लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग अपन जाते हैं एंड $180 व्यू आए